Let's bring in Mark Montgomery. He's a retired U.S. Navy Rear Admiral and Senior Fellow at the Nonpartisan Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Mark also previously served as Policy Director for the Senate Armed Services Committee under the leadership of Senator John McCain. Mark, to you, good morning. President Zelensky says, quote, no decision can be made without Ukraine on how to end the war in Ukraine. That's a quote, direct quote. Adding the meetings between the U.S. and Russia came as a surprise to him and European leaders who are concerned they are being sidelined along with Ukraine. Do they have a point here, or is this political theater that we're watching play out?
Yes, they do. First, thank you for having me. And certainly this is confusing. The president has probably entered into negotiations with Russia way too soon. And, he's not establishing a position of leverage, as a good negotiator would, putting pressure on Russia economically and security wise before entering into them. He's not bringing the principal protagonist, one of the two of them, to the table, the Ukrainians, and instead negotiating directly with the Russians. And then just the things he's saying are just factually inaccurate. I mean, Russia started the war. Ukraine has sacrificed more than nearly 50,000 dead in fighting this illegal Russian invasion. So, of course, they should be at the table. Of course, Zelensky should be disturbed. And, I think the United States needs to reset its position pretty rapidly.
Yeah, a lot of people questioning why, in fact, like you just mentioned, why, in fact, Ukraine would not be at the table since they are one of the two main players in this issue. Reports from multiple foreign diplomatic sources are now saying forcing Ukraine to hold new elections could be a key part of a peace deal. However, as of this morning, we heard the president say that, last night that President Zelensky's numbers are low in terms of his popularity. President Zelensky hitting back this morning saying, hey, my favorability numbers are high. I'd like to get your take on that back and forth. Who's right? Or is there something here in the middle that we're not seeing?
I think what we're not seeing is that President Trump is actually parroting President Putin's talking points on this. President Putin would like Zelensky to have an election. There is no reasonable, advantage to the United States calling for Ukraine to have elections. This is completely confusing. And frankly, Zelensky's popularity is higher than President Trump's. So, if that's the reason for having a set of elections, I don't think the United States should be making that argument.
All right. Well, let's move on here. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, of course, they're still in the midst of those talks this week. He said the two sides agreed to pursue three goals, one of which is to restore staffing at their respective embassies in D.C. and in Moscow, create a high-level team to support Ukraine peace talks, and explore closer relations and economic cooperation. The optics of this, we're talking about a lot about optics this morning. It looks like this could be rewarding Russia for bad behavior or for an unprovoked war against Ukraine. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it does look like it's rewarding Russia for bad behavior. I will say this is the president's choice. He was elected. He can decide how he conducts his relations with a country such as Russia. I will say that Russia has done nothing to warrant being brought off, to being treated like a normal nation. They are a pariah. They have launched an illegal invasion. They've killed, 50,000 Ukrainian troops, displaced millions of people. They have acted in an inappropriate manner. I'm surprised we're rewarding them, but this is the president's, this is his right as our elected leader to make this kind of decision. It's just a very surprising one, and one counter, I think, to the long-term national security interests of the United States.
All right, super quick here, Mark, 10 seconds or less. Like you pointed out, this is confusing for all of us watching this. Do you believe that at the end of this, they will be able to come to an agreement to end this war?
Over the next 6 months, yes. Over the next 1 to 2 months, no.
All right. Could be a long haul. We'll continue watching it. Mark Montgomery, thank you so much.